Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Today I will be talking to you about alternative energy sources by me. Now, to start off, we all know that we use oil, either refined, diesel, or natural gases. We usually use these in cars, heavy machinery, and airplanes, helicopters, anything that requires transportation or large anything in large quantities. But now that technology has improved and that we are getting better at solving bigger and worse and tougher problems, we are starting to find different sources of energy. Now, the first one I'll be covering today is nuclear energy, one of the cleanest and most productive energies on Earth. Now, what are the pros of nuclear energy? First of all, it's clean. It doesn't provide CO2 emissions. It does not pollute surrounding areas. It provides huge amounts of energy, as I will state later. Now, but it doesn't have many pros. Cons: it can lead to destruction if failures, such as Chernobyl, which was the rods overheated and detonated. Waste management: after the use of these spent rods, they do not know what to do with them because they stay radioactive for thousands and thousands of years. Terrorists: especially in the States, they are afraid that terrorists will target these nuclear plants. So it just detonates everywhere. So they detonate as bombs, and it's very expensive. One plant is several billions of dollars. Here are some fun facts just to help you understand. 1 kilogram of uranium provides 50,000 kilowatts per hour of energy. That is a lot. The Earth contains 17 billion tons of uranium. Now, you may say that's a lot, but we consume copious amounts of energy. And unfortunately, uranium, plutonium, and all those radioactive substances are very limited. They are not unlimited, such as the sun and wind. Estimates have said that we roughly have 300 years left of uranium on this Earth, and that's after we mine it, we extract it, and use it. The cost for a plant is several billions of dollars. No one really knows how much, but it's through several social forums, they have predicted it's 6 to 7 to even $12 billion. Here are some more nuclear stats. In 2001, nuclear energy has managed to lower their production costs below the ones of coal, natural gas, and oil. That is great because it's cheaper for us and it's more power. The U.S. consumes 821 terawatts per hour. That is insane. That's enough to power a small village for several years. In 2010, nuclear energy power plants have provided 13.5% of the world's energy. 13.5%, including solar and all those other alternative energy sources. I believe that if we can solve how to make them as efficient as possible, we can solve our dilemma and help our ecosystem and the world itself. There are 104 nuclear power plants in the U.S. Now, that's great from an energy point of view, but from a disaster point of view, that is horrible because if 104 power plants went off, the United States would be consumed in a nuclear bomb. Lower level nuclear waste such as gloves take roughly 100 years to become neutral or mildly radioactive. So everything they use in the plants, such as gloves, face protectors, suits, clamps, anything they touch the radioactive rods, become radioactive themselves and take roughly 100 to 150 years to become neutral or mildly radioactive. Now, the rods themselves take thousands and thousands of years, so that's the biggest problem with nuclear, that they do not know how to neutralize these rods. The nuclear industry generates 2,000 to 2,500 metric tons of used fuel per year. Now, used fuel is another term for nuclear rods. That's what they're saying. So imagine 2,500 metric tons. One elephant is 1 metric ton. So imagine 2,500 elephants. That is insane. Solar. Solar is by far one of the greatest alternative energy sources we have so far. It's unlimited. It's free. It does not produce any greenhouse gases. Maintenance cost is low, although the systems can be a little expensive at first. And the system is adaptable for any kind of house, kind of the one on the top in the top right corner. The cons: like I said, it's costly. The weather is always unpredictable, even if we think we can predict it. So here are some fun facts. You can cook your food with solar energy. You know, go outside, take a pan, and cook an egg. One system will prevent the burning of 175 pounds of coal and the release of 300 pounds of CO2 in the atmosphere. That in itself should be one of the biggest reasons why solar energy should be chosen over oil. The sun could provide enough energy for an entire year, but unfortunately, we don't have 365 days of complete sun. So that in itself is a problem. It takes about 6.5 years to pay off the price of a solar system. Now, one solar system averages out to $10,000 to $12,000, depending on where you buy them. In 2000 alone, German solar companies have sold. One second. Oh, my apologies. Okay, so there's 3 types of solar systems out there. There's the passive solar energy system. There's the photovoltaic, and there's the solar panels. The passive is when the structure itself is built in cement, in order for it to absorb the sun rays. Photovoltaic is when it takes the sun, turns it into electricity, and then sends it through your house. And solar energy heats up your water, so you don't have to use water heaters. The sun provides more energy than the world can produce in 1 hour. It's just a question if we can harness it. Solar systems are built in a very effective and durable way, so they last from 30 to 40 years. Now, the biggest dilemma of any alternative energy source is we cannot keep the energy. Our batteries are not designed properly to store large quantities of energy for a long time. In 2006, Germany has installed over 100,000 solar panels. Next up, we have wind, another great source of energy, but it's one of the uglier ones. First of all, it's clean, does not emit any greenhouse gases. It's renewable, the wind is always there, unless if you're in a mountain, well, even in a mountainous area, you can have high winds depending where you put them. Low operating costs, you know, you only need 2 or 3 guys to maintain one air turbine, and it's accessible to all countries. Even places like Africa can have them. And it can be used by household items. There are smaller downsized versions for little houses. Not too expensive for the government to buy. It's $1.2 million to $2.6 million. When I come to think of it, if we keep paying taxes, we'll be able to pay this off pretty quickly. Here's the cons. I've heard this several times. They're ugly. They're not aesthetically pleasing to the eye. They're noisy. People who have lived under them have complained of this whooshing, continuous sound that bothers them when they sleep. And the weather can be unpredictable. Unlike, there are certain areas where you know it's constantly windy, but generally speaking, it can fluctuate. Here are some wind stats. Wind energy produces 65 billion kilowatts per hour, enough to supply 600 million U.S. homes. 1,500 tons of CO2 are eliminated from being released due to solar energy. Again, a great reason why we should invest more in this. Wind power from power farms generates 17 to 39 times more than they consume. So we could sell that energy and make a profit. One turbine can provide enough for roughly 300 homes. So imagine if we had those in our community. It'd be great. We wouldn't have to pay as much taxes on energy bills. I mean, we're lucky because we're in Quebec, so we have hydro, which is I think my next point. There are enough wind turbines in Europe to supply 6.3% of its energy in total. Unfortunately, wind turbines kill bats. Hydro. Okay, let's talk about hydro. We have it here. It's very, very popular in Quebec. Pro, it's clean and renewable. We constantly have water. Low maintenance costs because they're built in a very solid way. They're built to last for many years. I mean, if they weren't built to last, it would collapse and probably destroy everything below it. Cons, starting costs are excessively high. It destroys landscape ecosystems and it aggravates the Indians because we're flooding their burial grounds. And the cost of a dam is estimated at $690 million, so we don't exactly invest in those every day. Here are some stats. In 2010, the Asian Pacific regions of the world produces 32% of the world's hydropower. The maximum lifespan of a dam is at 200 years, so you can see how they're effectively made. China is apparently one of the leading producers in hydro, although that's debated, because I've searched in several social forums, and it's between North America, Canada, and China. What happens when a dam breaks? This is disastrous because it will flood everything under it. And the Hoover Dam is visible from space. Just a fun fact. That the Hoover Dam is located in the States. The future. Here are some futuristic concepts for you guys to think about. Space-based solar transfer. It's when you send probes into space and they send back energy through invisible waves. Nanotech solar cells is technology that is more efficient than the photovoltaic cells, which can allot one electron compared to a hefty 7 electrons with this new technology. So it produces more power for the sun, and it's more of a bang for your buck. Global energy grid. It is a way of sharing electricity through propane and supercooled cables that can transfer energy at no loss through thermal conducting powers. Oh, excuse me. Tidal energy. We already use this quite frequently. We use that to power the tides. They fill up bins, and then as they empty and go through these propellers, they create energy. Kind of the same concept of hydro, but it takes a little longer. Designer microbes. We're presently in our labs designing microbacteria that produce energy. Kind of like what happened at the beginning of time with I'm not sure what they're called, but they're those microbacteria that start producing oxygen. Same concept. Here are some pictures. On the left, it would be the space-based transfer. Here is the nanotech technology. On the bottom left is the grid, the transfer grid. In the center is the tidal energy, and the right is microbacteria. To conclude, I will show you a small video.